Hey, I'm Alex.
And I'm Brandon.
And welcome to Living Electric.
We're both content creators and electric vehicle enthusiasts.
And through this podcast, we hope to share our experience with owning electric vehicles and help you join the electric life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Living Electric. We have an exciting electric vehicle shopping episode, as well as getting into more details of our Chevy Bolt buyback. And we are joined with special guest, Tyler.
Hey.
Yeah. I think this is your third episode on Living Electric.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we should make him a reoccurring guest. So, yeah. So before we start, just to kind of give some backgrounds, Alex does not know any of the details we're about to tell him. So this will be a live reaction episode. And this will go live in a few weeks after we do our YouTube series for our EV shopping. And we make our announcement on the Everyday EV YouTube channel. So yes. I think we should probably start at the beginning with the Bolt buyback. So for those who do not know, GM is doing a recall on the Chevy Bolt EV. Basically, pretty much every Bolt EV that was put into production, they're doing a battery recall. Some vehicles are going to need new battery replaced. Some of them are being bought back, which an example, ours was bought back. But it is a recall that impacts about 140,000 plus vehicles for potential battery fires. And before anybody worries about that, it was only about 12 vehicles out of 140,000 plus, which is like roughly 1% of those cars that were sold. So the odds are pretty good. Yes. Yeah, yes. Yeah. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So very, very low odds that your car will combust in your driveway. In fact, gasoline vehicles will catch on fire more. So just going to throw out that statistic. But since our Bolt fell within that prime spot when it came to the battery issues, we decided to pursue a buyback. So we had a 2019 Bolt EV for about 2.5 years, about 200,000 miles, 22,000 miles.
Wow, 200,000.
That would be impressive.
It would, yeah.
And we submitted in August of 2021 a request to have the vehicle bought back. Well, it is now March of 2022, and we finally returned the vehicle a few days ago.
Yay!
Yes. So basically, throughout the 7 months, GM worked with us on and off for those 7 months, to say that lightly, where they requested documentation from us, registration, title, pretty much showing that we own the vehicle in order to process an offer. And we waited and waited, we heard from them and so forth and everything. So we actually received our offer 2 weeks ago in February. They were going to give us all of our interest payments back, which equated to about $7,100. And they were going to pay off the remainder of our loan, which was about $32,000. So Jeez. We essentially got the car for free, essentially for 2 years.
2.5 years, yeah.
Through this buyback.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So what was
so they paid not only so the only thing out of your pocket technically was just their principal payments on the car over the past 2.5 years. But
Correct.
They then paid for whatever the remaining loan balance plus the interest you paid so far. So that's you made out pretty well.
They also paid for our license and registration for the car for the last 2.5 years.
Wow.
So obviously in Ohio we paid for the 5-year for our plate. Mm-hmm. So they paid that, which was actually very, very nice of them. And it was weird, too, because in Ohio, they calculate the amount completely different from a lot of other states. So we were kind of nervous, we may not get a whole lot back, but we actually did.
Yeah, we were worried that we were actually going to owe some money, because there was rumors that if you had negative equity that you rolled into it, which we did, mm-hmm. you would owe that. And I think we rolled close to $8,000 into it. Dang. So we really got fortunate that
we did
that we didn't have any negative that we would have to pay.
Right. So essentially kind of a clean slate there with the Bolt, which is nice.
Wipe our hands clean and walk away from it.
Did you do that TikTok with the car?
Not yet. We have it planned. We really have it planned. So we took a photo of it in front of the dealership, and we're going to hyperimpose our eyes and mouth on the front of the car. When will I see you again? Never.
That's awesome.
So that's planned. We'll probably do it today since it's nice out. But
perfect.
But honestly, we we received the offer, and they were going to ship some paperwork to the dealership that we have been working with. And we would have to go in, fill out some paperwork, and that was pretty much it. And the paperwork signage literally took 5 minutes. They looked at the odometer, we gave them the key, and they handed us the check that GM owed us, and then that was it.
That was it.
Wow.
Then we just walked
Done.
away.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So
but-
after all this, at least the last day was pretty
Yes.
pretty smooth.
Yep. And then we had to rush home to get to meetings, so it was like almost like we didn't have a chance to process it until that night.
Jeez.
It's like they wanted us to come in at like noon, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, why can't we go at like 8 a.m. when
Right.
you guys open? Because it's just easier for our schedules working on West Coast time. Like, no, we want you guys at noon. So we both had to like move all these meetings around for the afternoon
my
just
gosh.
so we can drop it off.
Yep. Yeah. And it was funny because the nickname of our car is Piddles. Well, the Bolt, Piddles the Bolt. And the only reason it's called Piddles is because I took it on an auto track course once, and it lifted like a dog that was urinating. So like the track
Lots of
instructor
body
called
roll.
it Piddles. Yeah, right. Yep.
Lot of
And
piddles.
when we walked away from it, there was a line of melted snow under it, so it looked like it had like piddled.
Oh my
On the-
gosh.
I'm like, Piddles,
That's
it's okay. We'll never see you again.
Iconic.
Yes, yes. So we drove away with our ID.4, essentially thinking that we were going to have that car by itself for, who knows how long until we found another vehicle.
Right.
And that lasted literally less than 24 hours.
It did.
Wild.
So I'm not sure. Do you have any other questions about the buyback before we dive into
No,
it?
I mean, it's been a saga because like
Yeah.
we've been talking about it
Seriously.
for a year, I feel like, of what's been going on. So I'm glad it's all, you
Yeah.
could wipe your hands of it.
Yes.
And it all
Yeah.
worked out.
The
And he got
reason why
paid
I'm
too.
calling.
So
Yes,
that's huge.
yes. Yep.
I think it's bittersweet though. Like we, walked away from it. We're like, it was a really good first EV for us. Like, because
Right.
we had our Volt, which was half, electric, half gas,
Right.
and that was an awesome. Our 2012 was awesome. But I think this was the perfect step for us as our first electric car to kind
Definitely.
of get like an idea of, okay, we love this, so we're going to continue, but just get something a lot better,
Right.
and a lot newer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like I always make jokes about the Bolt, but like genuinely, like I love that car.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't the perfect electric vehicle, but for what it was a blast to drive to, around the town, like, do autocross in it, like took on a skid pad.
Well, I think it's good that even like an entry level EV like that, you still walked away saying, I want another one of these instead
Yes.
of like it ruining EVs and being like, oh, this is terrible. Like even like
Yep.
I can't see getting another one would be better. But that's good you had that impression.
Yeah, and that's why we would absolutely recommend the 2022, like all the refinement that GM did,
Right.
change the entire interior, the materials,
So much
like
better.
so much
So
better.
much better.
And you can get them under, $34,000, like the base LT version. So
Right.
yeah. So if anybody's out there listening to this, interested in a Bolt, highly recommend them.
Yeah, go buy
Get good
Piddles.
deals. Yes, go buy Piddles. Yeah. The battery will probably be replaced, so we'll have a brand new battery. Piddles the Bolt lives on. So we drove away with the ID.4,
Yeah.
and that was pretty much it. And, now we're done. We don't have a new car in our driveway, and we're going to leave it at that. So, I'm just So, basically, for the past few months, I would say we've been car shopping.
Yes, we have quite the list.
Yeah.
I don't know if Alex knows, but I don't know if anyone else that's listening knows our full list.
I don't think we went through the whole list on an episode.
I think we went through some of them, but we didn't go through the whole list. But I'd be curious to hear about the ones you like actually went and test drove and like your kind of impressions of those. I know you've been doing videos about them all too, so I don't want to like rehash everything, but
Well, spoiler alert, we did buy a new car, but now we feel like we have to rush out those like shopping videos.
Right.
Because, we want to make our announcement video, but obviously we want like the shopping series to, get some type of, traction. But
definitely.
I just
definitely.
think it was unexpected because we were not expecting to get a car this weekend.
Right.
We're like, it's probably gonna take a while. Brandon has a work trip. When he comes back, we'll get back to the swing of things about figuring out our car shopping. But That did not happen.
No, it did not.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't spoil it yet. We got to wait till like the last 5 minutes of the episode to actually say what car you bought.
Exactly. Yeah. So to get into details about the cars that we've driven, and through content production, we've been fortunate to drive a ton of different electric vehicles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Basically, the cars on our list were the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Mm-hmm. The Mustang Mach-E Premium Extended Range All-Wheel Drive. The Tesla Model 3, the Tesla Model Y, the Kia EV6, and then the Volkswagen ID.4. No, there's more. The ID.4 All-Wheel Drive. Yes. And then the Polestar 2. Did I get all of them?
Yep.
Okay.
We were looking at all the trims that offered all-wheel drive, because that's
right.
kind of the next thing we wanted in our next car. After having rear-wheel drive, in our ID.4, we're like, okay, no, we want the extra motor, the extra power, the extra traction. We want all of that. And I think out of that list, so we've driven every car on that list, and this is the funny part, except the Mustang Mach-E Premium Extended Range. We've driven the Select Base all-wheel drive. We've obviously driven the GT Performance when we were all out in California.
Right.
But it's funny because the one that we were looking for, we hadn't driven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like, we'll take a chance. It's fine.
Yeah. Which is funny that we kind of like got the entry level one and then we went for the top like performance one, but nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
So I guess we can start with like in the shopping series, like how we're premiering them.
Yeah.
So the first one was premiered the Hyundai Ioniq 5. Mm-hmm. We got a chance to drive the Ioniq 5 SE all-wheel drive, which is the entry-level all-wheel drive version, which was really nice. I think about 270 horsepower. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
Yeah.
Close to 400 pound-feet of torque.
Something like that. Yeah.
Good for about 256 miles of range. The thing that like surprised us about the Ioniq 5 is that from photos, it looks bigger than it truly is.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah.
It's not. It's smaller.
Yeah, we thought that it was going to be like Hyundai Tucson size, and when we drove up, it was parked next to one, and it's actually lower than the Tucson, and it's shorter. But everything that we've watched and read says it's the wheelbase of a Palisade, which it is in measurement, but it's definitely not the side of
Doesn't feel that way.
A 3-row SUV.
Right.
So we genuinely liked it. Like the quality was all there. Hyundai did a fantastic job with like the one pedal driving. Software worked really well. Touchscreens were responsive. But we couldn't get past the fact that the dealership marked it up by $5,000.
And that was a common problem is like right now there's so many markups.
Right.
And this was a dealership that we bought multiple Volkswagens from, the same auto groups. We're like, oh, okay, we're returning customers. Like, this is our 6th time coming back.
Yeah, help us out a little bit.
Help us out.
Yeah.
So I remember the base were $5,000. The SELs, the mid-trim were $6,000. And then the limiteds were like $7,000 to $9,000.
Oh my gosh.
Which is ridiculous.
Jeez. Yeah.
Is the Ioniq 5, are they selling that in every state? Or is it like limited to like 12 or something?
Yeah, it's limited to, I think, like 15 or 18 states, but eventually
Ohio's
they're going to...
one of them.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, they're going to roll it out to other states throughout this year, but I think at the beginning they're only doing those few states.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's another downside too, is that since they're limited to certain states, when it came to like service, we'd probably have to go out of state to have it serviced.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one thing we were like a little iffy on, but we really liked it. We got a chance to sit in the limited with like the panoramic roof, and
that was nice.
It had a green and white interior with orange piping around the seats, so like it was very Italian feeling in the inside.
Really, really nice.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
But we didn't get to drive it.
Yeah.
But we were pretty impressed with that.
I think the only thing that we didn't like that was definitely like a number one con for us was the passenger space, front and rear was perfect. You had lots of space, but the cargo space is what really sucked.
Yeah.
It was so much less than our ID.4, and we're like, okay, like we can make do with this, like, for moving out to the West Coast. But the more we thought about it, we're like, that for everyday use, it's perfect. But it's just smaller than what we're used to, and I'm like, I don't know if we can do that. And the front is so tiny. These cars.
Yeah, it was
like
so
book bag sized, or
not even.
No,
really.
Like, you could probably fit like the charging cable, and that's it. Like,
wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Small.
Yeah, I was joking if we bought it to put like some like t-shirts in there while we're driving because that's as big as it is.
Right. That's
Like,
funny.
It's nice that
I
they
wonder
even-
how many companies are like just doing that more as a gimmick to say they have a frunk, just because that's like what Tesla initially did, and that's
Yeah.
like now a cool thing to do is like add a frunk. But
Yeah.
for some vehicles, it just doesn't make sense because they put so much stuff up there. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah. So that was the one downside. But then the next video that we premiered was the Volkswagen ID.4 all-wheel drive. That one was easy to record because, we drove the all-wheel drive version in California.
Right.
We had owned our first edition for about 9-10 months. So we really had an opportunity to experience ownership. It would just add extra power if it was all-wheel drive.
Right.
So, we liked the quality of the interior. We liked the powertrain, how like night and day, how in terms of like power the all-wheel drive version has. And that was really it. I think that would have been an easy purchase if we wanted it.
Oh, yeah.
But it came down to availability. With their tanker that just came, that like just sank recently in the ocean after it caught on fire.
Yeah.
So, and people are waiting like a year plus for their ID.4 all-wheel drive.
It's crazy.
So that was obviously something we would have to like deal with.
Yeah.
And if a dealership had it in stock, they're marking them up right now.
Yep.
In fact, some of them are marking them up to $7,500 plus, which is the tax credit.
Yeah.
And which is not exactly right in my opinion.
No.
So
Yeah,
No.
it's so hard because it's like, I mean, not to get like too into economics, it's like they don't really have a choice sometimes but to mark them up because they know somebody's going to pay it. Like
Yes.
whether it's right or not, like it's definitely taking advantage of consumers and like definitely not great for us, but they're like somebody's going to have to pay it like eventually because they're going to want the car bad enough and we don't have supply to just keep pumping out more cars, so we're just going to have to mark them up and deal with the repercussions.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
which really sucks, but I feel like it's more the nature of the situation right now than anything else.
yeah, that's it. I mean, you hit it right on the head. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I have to say about the ID.4.
Yeah.
Did you go test drive another one, or did you just do it based on your impressions of the one we drove and your current ownership?
Yeah, that's exactly what we did.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
a mixture of ownership and the one we had a test drive in California with.
Yeah. Is there
Yeah.
any differences between the all-wheel drive, like on the interior, like exterior? Does anything look different besides like the all-wheel drive badge or anything like that?
Yeah.
The only thing is you have the all-wheel drive badge on the all-wheel drive. And then the ride height, you can actually tell a difference. It's about, I think it's 0.4 or 0.5 inches taller in the all-wheel
Really?
drive version.
Okay.
And we saw one recently, and you can actually see the height difference between ours
Interesting.
and the other all-wheel drive. I'm like, whoa. So I think it would be cool to actually lift it, put off-road tires. I mean, hey,
Yeah.
they had the Baja one recently. The Baja one recently.
Do you say Baja?
Baja by accident. But yeah, I mean that was the easiest video I think we did in this series.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so easy.
True.
Next on our list was the Mach-E. For that one, we kind of did the same thing. We kind of based our opinions or our views off of all three that we drove in the past. The Select was the very first one that we ever drove, and that we had to like remember what we thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was like a year ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when it first came out. And then obviously the GT Performance were so recent. Those are definitely out of our price range because we had a price cap of like 60 was
Yeah.
like as far because we wanted to go down to one car, so I'm like I don't want to spend more than 60.
Right.
Like, I just and that was the other problem with the Mach-E is a lot of Ford dealerships, even though they're cracking down on it, markups was huge here in Cleveland. I mean, every dealership had at least $10,000 to $12,000 of a markup
Yeah,
on
it's
the Mach-E.
Wild.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And another downside with the Mach-E is availability of like the other trims, like the premium extended range. They stopped making that for the rest of the year.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, you can only order the Select or the GT. So that's it. So the premium and the California Route 1, which is like the more aerodynamic, like the hyper ranged one, you can't purchase those unless you get it from a dealership. And the one dealership we found one at, they were posting inventory of sold vehicles. So like they showed inventory and they were all sold. So
that was disappointing.
Yeah. So pretty much the moral of the entire shopping series is the hurdles of dealing with availability at the moment and trying to navigate the dealership experience.
Yes.
Because that was, I would say was probably the most frustrating part of this whole shopping experience, was just trying to figure out which dealership would work with us.
Right. Yeah.
So then the next car on the list was the Model Y and the Model 3.
Model 3. But we drove a Model Y only for the test drive. We didn't drive a Model 3, at first at least. So, but the Model
Y... And you went did you go to the Tesla dealer or Tesla showroom to do that? It wasn't at a dealer?
Yeah, the one that's in Cleveland. So the only showroom that we have here in Cleveland. Of course, we know everybody there.
Yeah.
So it was so easy to get an appointment. And get a test drive.
Yeah, it's funny. The online salesperson was just like, "Oh, do you know about Tesla?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I used to work there." And he like literally disregarded that comment. He's just like, "We'll get you scheduled."
Sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Sounds good. We drove the long range Model Y on the standard 19s, right?
Yep, the Gemini wheels.
We were curious to see how that was first before we attempted, but we didn't, on the 20s, because they also had a Model Y long range on the 20s. Didn't want to drive the performance model because that's way out of our price range. Didn't want to do that. But I don't know, the Model Y, we were kind of, I would say we were disappointed with it.
Yeah, and that was the surprising thing, is because they share such a platform, or the Y shares such a platform with the 3.
Right.
That we were like surprised at how disappointed we were in the handling of the Model Y.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It was very rough, like on our Cleveland roads.
The suspension was terrible on our Cleveland roads.
Yeah. Cleveland is like driving on the moon. So like if the car is soft, it's a miracle. But like the whole car was rattled, like almost like jittering us the entire time.
That's really interesting. Wonder if something was screwed up, because I had the complete opposite experience when I test drove a friend of mine's. And it was like, it felt smoother than my Model 3. Like, it was really weird. So
interesting.
I don't know what setup he had on tires. I can't remember if it was the 19s or the 20s. I can't remember. But it felt smoother, because I drove his car like on the little loop, and then I got back in my car and drove that same loop, and I'm like, why is my car like so bumpy? So I don't know what happened, but it was a brand new one too, I assume, right? So that's really strange.
And I think it might have been the tires. It was the standard. I think they use Continental, although I know Tesla switches depending on what wheel size you get. I think it was the Continental with the foam on the inside, which I know a lot of manufacturers use for installation, purposes.
Right.
Besides
that, though, we loved the cargo space of the Y.
Oh, yeah.
We couldn't believe how much space was in the Y. We're like, wow.
Yeah. Out of our entire list, I would probably say that was the most practical.
Oh, yeah. That was the most practical one, I think, out of our list. It had the biggest frunk, of course, out of everything else. Even the Mach-E's frunk is huge, but not compared to the Model Y.
Nope.
We were looking at only the 5-seat configuration. We have no need for the 7. I tried in California. I tried to sit in the back seat of the 7-seat Model Y. Even short little me cannot fit back there. But, I mean, the tech is nice, like autopilot. It didn't have full self-driving, of course, for test vehicles.
Yeah.
But, the tech is what we've always enjoyed about Teslas. Although I will say the Model Y was the first time we experienced version 11 of their software, and immediately I was like, I hate this. I want version 10. Like, where's version 10?
Yeah. Which is a common complaint.
It is.
Yeah, I would say out of all the vehicles, it was the most practical. And since we are car shopping for a vehicle that can get us across country, when we move out west with the dogs, our luggage and everything, the Model Y by far would probably be the most practical. So,
definitely.
But it was at the top of our price range, basically. Yeah. And on top of it, availability was another impact. Our configuration would have been delivered in December of this year.
Right. Yeah. That's the problem with Teslas. Unless you find one in a dealer, you're waiting months right now, if not more. Some of them are pushed till like next year almost.
Yep.
It's only
Yeah.
March. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I'm impatient, so I don't like
true.
to wait.
It's true.
At all. So we actually didn't drive a Model 3 when we recorded our video. You know, we kind of just did it based on like our experiences with yours and, you know, our friends that has a 2021.
Right.
So we kind of discussed the differences between like yours as well as theirs in our video. But yeah, I would say that was probably it with the Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next on our list was the Polestar 2. In the all-wheel drive configuration, you can get the front-wheel drive, the single motor, but we loved, minus the performance package, which, you know, our rental obviously had in California.
Right.
That suspension was not made for that. That was,
No.
I was like, oh, no, can't do that.
No.
That was another car on the list. You know, we love the Sportback, you know, design of the Polestar. We thought there was plenty of cargo space there. It had a frunk, but it had enough room for the charging cable and I think like that little toolkit that it came with or whatever.
Yeah.
Or whatever they had up there. That was interesting because Polestar obviously has a similar model to Tesla when it comes to sales, which we
Right.
loved. Because I'm like, okay, it's one price, that is it.
Right.
You know, and then you just pay for extras like floor mats or crossbars for a roof rack. That's
It's all
what
just add-ons. Yeah.
it's all just add-ons, and you know they have what they call spaces, is like their dealerships. It was nice because they have a whole list of pre-configured cars you can pick up right away. So that
Really?
is
Okay.
what was nice because I'm like, oh, like we can go to Detroit, we can go to Manhattan, we can go to DC. There's 2 spaces that are in New Jersey, so not too far. We could easily do a weekend trip. We obviously loved the moon color that we had on our rental. That was a really nice color. What were the cons that we had for that? I can't remember.
I think it was just mostly like the performance package, just causing like a harsh ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest one.
And I told Tyler I would like to personally drive one without being in a deadly situation like LA traffic. So, like,
A lower stress environment. Than
backcountry road. Yes. Yes. Yeah, definitely not. I was joking with Tyler. I'm like, I want to be where I'm not about to kill you guys. Like,
Right.
Yeah, somewhere safe. But
the other con was price because there's a tariff. Because Polestars are made in China. That was kind of the other thing we were considering because ours would have been about $60,000 because we would have want the Plus and Pilot packages to have every option but, the performance goodies.
Right.
And even with the tax credit for financing, it was like, we're like, ooh, that is a lot of money.
yeah.
It was, I think the payment was like $900
Oh my gosh.
with like
Jeez.
hardly anything down. Obviously, we would put stuff down, but...
Yeah.
That was kind of at like we love the car, but we're going to kind of put it to like the side just in terms of its price. Price
Right.
was, a huge thing. We're like, we don't want to max out our budget.
No. And another thing too, which is a common theme, availability. The Detroit showroom didn't have any vehicles with the packages we wanted, and the
But
closest
DC
one,
did.
Was Washington D.C.
Wow.
So
Jeez.
we would have to go out of state to pick it up, and on top of it, or ship it. That's true. Yeah, take delivery of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but and then the last one, right? The EV6.
Yeah, that's the last one.
Yeah. So the last one was actually the vehicle that I personally... I just hit my desk. Sorry.
Wake up, everybody.
Yeah, right.
Wake up.
We are a cluster on this episode. So the last one on our list was my personal choice, was the Kia EV6, the Wind all-wheel drive.
Yes.
Or the fully loaded GT line all-wheel drive. So both of those were within our price range of about 52 to 58, even though we didn't want to spend the 58 because of how expensive that is. And we were looking at a steel gray metallic, which is the color that I really wanted.
It's so pretty.
I think
it is so pretty.
It works perfectly on that vehicle, like to show the body lines. The
Right.
EV6 is such an impressive car.
I agree.
Yeah, that was such a cool car to drive. And, so we did get a chance to test drive one, and it honestly felt like the Porsche Taycan 4S. The acceleration was heavy, and it felt awesome.
It was awesome.
It felt great. What's great about the EV6 is that you get a little bit more creature comforts. in the wind all-wheel drive and the rear-wheel drive, not the light one. That's light, wind, and GT line.
Confusing.
Yes.
Confusing trim names.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. You get things like heated and cooled seats. You get heated steering wheel. You get a Meridian sound system. You get like the dual 12-inch screens that are curved.
Which were really nice.
Really nice.
They did a great job on those screens. They were really, really nice.
Yeah, they did a great job. We personally probably would have picked that vehicle up if it wasn't for dealer markups. A ton of dealers are marking them up. We were fortunate. The one that we test drove was only really marked up by about $3,000, which is really low compared to some other areas.
Right.
But they didn't have the one that we wanted. They only had them in all-wheel drive with the color we didn't like, called Glacier. It kind of looks like a melted vanilla ice cream cone.
It doesn't look
in my opinion.
That's awesome.
And then just a bunch of rear-wheel drives. But we did get a chance to sit in the GT line.
That's where the issue began, for Brandon, at least.
So, Alex, you're taller than I am, and you would have had a lot of issues if you would have came with us on the test drive.
Really?
Because even in the one without the sunroof, the back seats, for me, I had to lean back and, like, scoot down. I couldn't sit properly in the back.
Jeez.
But the one with the sunroof, which opens, which is kind of rare nowadays, literally cuts into your head, like our headroom, like taller people.
Wow.
And I couldn't turn my head to look at the mirror. Like, that's how... And the seat was all the way down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think you lose... I looked at Kia's website to kind of compare specs. You lose almost 3 inches between the wind without a sunroof or a glass roof or anything.
Right.
Just, it has a steel roof, to the GT line that has an actual sunroof. I kind of wish it would have had a pano roof or a glass roof like a lot of electric cars are doing nowadays, because there's so much room with that.
Yeah.
Right.
But we were kind of bummed because we really wanted the GT line. But when Brandon was uncomfortable, I'm like, we can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way we can buy this car and have
Right.
you be comfortable.
Travel cross country, like, my head, like, tilted, like...
Your head's tilted.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But the quality was just like the Ioniq 5. It was quieter than our ID.4 on the inside. There
Right.
was literally no wind noise. The pedestrian sound was, in my opinion, way better than what the ID.4 sounds like. I know you disagree with me.
I love pedestrian sounds. So our ID.4 is very, very loud, and I love that.
It sounds like our washing machine.
It does. It does.
It's a nice high-pitched whine. And, sorry, give us a sec. Hopefully she doesn't make too much noise. Oh, she's going to lay down.
Okay.
So basically, we would have went with the EV6, but we were dealing with, markups, and, some of
Right.
the dealers we were trying to work with were kind of giving us the, like a difficult time in terms of paying off our Volkswagen lease, because apparently some dealerships can't pay off Volkswagen leases. We didn't know that.
Oh, interesting.
We had no idea that is a thing, because like Hyundai didn't have a problem with doing that, but this Kia dealership that we were trying to work with did. And we're like, okay, like that's so like, because then we would have had to go to like Carvana or CarMax, which actually we got them quoted for our ID.4 values, which were spot on to KBB. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we can go to one of those, but it's like, this is our only car. So how are we gonna go pick up the the new car type thing? But
Right.
it is in
Walk.
yeah, basically walk. But I think that was the big problem of our shopping series up to this point, was the dealerships were giving us such a hard time trying to work with them. And we were trying to be as easy as possible. Like, hey, we got this down payment, we got this car, we got this positive equity in our ID.4, this is our payoff, blah, blah, blah. Like, we had it all set up for every single dealership we were trying to work with. But I feel like nobody wanted to work with us.
Yeah. And the point of like this is not to like bash dealerships. Obviously, there's part shortages and inventory shortages, let alone, employee shortages.
Right.
So like, we can understand that there would be a time where you wouldn't respond. But at the same time, like, it would be nice if we heard from you, in a few days. Like, we have money we're willing to give you.
Right.
Yeah, like, we're willing to purchase this vehicle. And it was just like radio silence. It was frustrating.
So interesting.
Yeah. So basically, the car that we did end up purchasing, I guess I know it's not really the last 5 minutes, but I guess we should.
Before you get to that, with the ID.4, what's the situation with that? Because I don't think you explained that.
yeah.
Is Volkswagen buying it back, or do you have to trade it in, or like how's that working right now?
So I finally heard back. Unlike the Bolt situation, it was like 2 weeks, and I already heard back. Like all I had to do was submit documentation. We had to submit things like our registration, both our licenses. We had to submit, which was really weird to me. We had to submit every pay statement that we made for the ID.4. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
And then I found out the reason why we had to do that. The Volkswagen credit, which is where our lease was through, does not connect to the customer care team. They can't see that information because it's, financials, like our social security is on there and all that stuff. So I had to provide that, which kind of annoyed me a little bit because I'm like, they send us paper stuff, luckily, because I forgot to turn off paperless. So I'm actually grateful. I did that because if you log into Volkswagen Credit, it only shows you the past 4 statements. Well, we made 9 payments.
Oh my gosh.
9 lease payments, and I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't cancel the paperless, even though I should have. But I'm glad I didn't. So basically, I had to provide that. I had to provide all the service records, and I literally had a whole stack of service records.
Wow.
Most of the problems that we had with the car were all software based, just lots of glitches. I got stranded a few times with the car because it just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, it was just more of an annoyance for both of us, were the rattles we were getting from like our glass roof at the back where the rear spoiler is, and then on our rear hatch. They replaced all the parts that they possibly could. They had Germany involved, like the factory workers literally were involved with trying to figure out like, hey, send him this part, try this. Nothing worked.
Jeez.
And what was the weirdest thing is the rattles would just come and go. So it would be random. Like one day, actually for like one whole week, that's all you would hear. The next week, nothing. And it was like, what's going on? But anyways, so that was kind of that was more my thing to take care of because it was my car.
I love that. What's going on?
I know. I was frustrated with it.
Oh, I know. Just the way you said it. I'm beginning to realize just how like theatrical our lives are. Like literally, I feel like everything it could be turned into a Lifetime movie. Like
it's the life of a content creator. You gotta play everything up a little bit.
Yep. Exactly. This will be good clips for our autobiography.
There you go. I like that.
Yep.
But anyways, so at the end of 2 weeks, which I thought, in my opinion, took forever, because I'm like, okay, any day now. Like, any day now I could hear from them. And, the next day. But it came to be they weren't going to buy the car back fully. But instead, what they were going to do is give us a check for all of our problems. So they gave us $4,500 for all of our problems that we had, which... okay, that's actually pretty reasonable. I know. So
we're worth more than that.
I know. We're worth more than that. But it that was very, very generous of them, and they said that we're not tied if we accept it. We're not tied to owning the vehicle for the rest of the lease, which was a relief for us because we're obviously car shopping. And these were really just minus the software problems that would come up. Not all the time, but just inconvenient times when we needed it to actually work. Overall, it was a really great car. It's been a really great car for us every day. I've done road trips with it. We've taken it so many places. It's been a great car. But I was happy that we could send that in, and then we should be getting that check soon, actually.
Yeah. So to be honest, that was pretty much our down payment plus a little bit more. So we essentially got our down payment back.
Yeah. So we were happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
we'll take it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
So that ended the ID.4. I wasn't bummed because we still like the car, but I was kind of bummed at the same time. Like, oh, they're not gonna buy it back. But it actually worked out in our favor.
Yes, it did. Which is a good transition into our new car.
Yeah.
All right.
Ooh, do you want to have Alex? Oh, no, Alex knows. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I was going to have him guess, but he knows.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind.
I mean, you can guess if you want.
Ooh. Actually, so Alex knows what we got, obviously. But Alex, what car do you think we would have? Actually, what would your top pick be for us, you think, out of our list of cars?
Right. I was honestly thinking either the Ioniq 5, because I think that's like, it's really like a next gen EV. It's got the 800 volt architecture, right? You said you like fit in there really well, had a decent amount of space, but it was a lot smaller than you expected. But I think that's something you could live with. And I'm trying to think of what else. I think the Kia EV6 and the Ioniq 5 were probably your top two. It just sounded like a lot of dealership issues, and just trying to find availability of them were the biggest issues. So those two, and then I was bummed to hear you didn't like the Model Y, because I thought, like, anytime I drove it, I thought it was super comfortable, but it sounded like that was kind of keeping you away from the Model Y. So what did you two decide on?
This is going to shock everyone, I think.
Yeah.
Actually.
So we found this incredible deal. Well, basically, so like, we returned the Bolt. I was in my grieving process. I was in a corner crying. I'm just kidding.
Denial, anger.
Yeah, going through all, I think 5 steps of grief or whatever it is. But so anyway, so I'm pretty sure I was just chilling on the couch, and Tyler goes, I found a dealership with a bunch of used Model 3s and Model S's. And it was about 30 minutes away from us.
Yep.
And they were priced fantastically. And to be honest, we're like, how are these cars still available?
We didn't know how. Yeah.
And as we were driving there to go test drive, I kept thinking, like, back to, that dealership that had, like, sold inventory posted.
Yeah, like they're like, not going to have any.
Yeah. And sure enough, we pulled up.
All 12 of them were there.
They
had 12.
Wow.
12.
They had 2 Model X's. They had a Plaid.
Yep.
2 other
Really?
Model S's. And then they had 4 Model 3s.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what's amazing about the Plaid is that they're pricing it at $130,000, which is like unheard of for that
wild.
vehicle.
Yeah.
I need to pick that up.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah,
it's nice looking.
Let's go in on it together. So we really went there, planning to check out a 2020 Model 3 long range that was white on white.
Yep.
There was a 2018 Model S that was blue, that was a 75D, and then a
very low mileage on that one, actually.
All of them were low miles. I mean, like less than 30,000 miles on these vehicles. Huh. And then the last one, it was a 2021 Model 3 long range that was white on black. And which, just a full disclosure, they were all priced between, I believe, was it 49 and 58? Like those 3 vehicles, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the 2021 was priced at about 57-ish thousand.
57, yeah. We drove we looked at all the cars first. We just wanted to look at them first. We looked at the Model 3, the white on white one first, I think, right?
Yes, which so Tyler, I didn't pick up on it right away, but he sat in it and somebody had smoked in it, and sure enough, there was a cigarette burn in the seat.
Come on.
Yeah.
And I have asthma, so I picked up on that like instantly. And on our test drive, I looked at Brandon. I'm like, "Can we put the windows down?" I'm having a hard. I'm getting like a headache from this. I'm like, we can't do this car, and I know it's used, so you can't help the fact that you know, whatever happened to it. I was kind of bummed because I'm like, the white looks so cool.
It does.
It looks so cool.
That's such a hard. I'm the same way though. Like I'm real sensitive to that stuff with my like allergies. So like that's such a hard thing to get out too after it's kind of baked into the car. So
yeah.
That one, if they can. Get the smell out. I know it's kind of hard. Maybe change the cabin air filter and do another bomb. That you can get that smell out. That one was a 2020 with only 23,000 miles. So that's low mileage. Oh, that one. Oh,
Harvey's gonna start dreaming in a second.
Yeah,
I heard him moan there.
Yeah,
hope he's doing okay.
He's gonna start doing his.
He will.
Just excited for the end of the episode.
Yes. So I guess we'll keep it in because we're on a roll here. So if you guys hear any sounds, it's our dog.
It's our dog
sleeping in the background.
This 2020 long range did have the.
Do you hear it?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
He's dreaming.
I guess we can wait.
Doesn't matter.
He's normally done in like 30 seconds. So.
quick dreamer.
Right.
He is.
But I mean, if you're okay, Alex, I guess we can keep
Yeah,
going.
just keep rolling. You're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this 2020 did have the acceleration boost. So we were actually kind of excited because it was still on the car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we were kind of excited to test that out. And instantly, you drove first.
Yeah, I drove first, and I didn't test the acceleration boost, but Tyler did going on an on-ramp, and I forgot to take a deep breath in, to kind of help with that that movement, and I literally got like lightheaded. Like I was like, oh man, like.
I forgot to warn him because I always warn people. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna mash it. Like, are you ready? Because you gotta be prepared. And
Right.
that acceleration boost, I was like, oh
Yeah.
Like we both looked at each other. We're like, oh yeah, there's the Tesla smile.
Yep, there's the Tesla smile.
Yep.
So then as we were driving that, we were talking back and forth, like, like the Model 3s obviously have newer technology in terms of like charging compared to that 2018 Model S we were considering. Mm-hmm. They were all around the same price, and the Model S had some scuffs on it, and it was a used car, but it was the textile interior. So, we weren't really too keen on that because of the dogs. And the whole dealership experience, I want to give a shout out to the dealership that we worked with. It was Volkswagen of Streetsboro. They have exotic cars from like Lamborghinis, Rolls Royce, like they have EV specialists. Like we walked in, and the first person that worked with us was the EV specialist.
Wow.
And he knew a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Like he knew a lot of stuff.
And
it was great.
All the sales managers talked about going electric. The one sales manager actually, I delivered his Tesla. We remembered each other. Like
that's so cool.
By far the best dealership experience that we have. Like I think we ever could have been prepared to walk into. Mm-hmm. So basically, we were working with the one salesperson with this, and he was just like, "Well, do you want to check out the 2021?" And what's so amazing about this is that it was a 2021 long range with under 2,000 miles.
1,800 to
1,800. So literally brand new. It was delivered in September of 2021. An old man accidentally ordered 4 Model 3s. And he took, this. He took delivery of all of them because he felt bad canceling.
He didn't want to cancel any of his orders. He just didn't want to press the button, so he just bought all of them.
Yes. Yes.
I wish I was able to do that.
I know.
Like,
right?
I am gonna drain my funds if I try to accept all these cars.
So what's so amazing about it is that obviously this old man ordered 4 cars. They probably had sat there, so like they're low miles, they're not worn out or anything.
Right.
And they have a deal basically where when the one sells, he'll bring another one and sell it to the dealership. So like he's trying to sell these back to that dealer.
Okay.
And we drove it, and the 2021 is like a world of difference from that 2020. Like
huge difference.
It's crazy how much it's improved. Like
the dual pane windows, absolutely silent on the inside. Like the quality was it was so solid. The body panels were like almost non-existent. There are some, but
it's like because like we were looking it over, and actually before we looked it over, we like drove it. Mm-hmm. And I kept on telling Brandon, I'm like, this was so much better than our Model Y experience. And I don't know why that was. I think it was, tire issues or something, that day, possibly. Because everyone else says that it's not like that. But we were having so much fun. We took a few back roads on the Model Y and just looked at each other.
Oh, the Model 3?
Or Model 3, yeah. And we're like, this is just so much fun. And we love the upgraded interior for the 21s. Love how the wood actually meets the dash, and the new center console is so nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
It's significantly better. I mean, you see mine. It's like it still feels very unrefined. So
we were just really impressed with it, and so. Basically, long story short, we ended up purchasing this 2021 Model 3.
Yep.
Because how do you beat that? Like, it's literally a brand new vehicle. Mm-hmm. It's a 2021. It's barely been driven, and with a backstory like that, like it is a Lifetime movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get the acceleration boost in there too, right?
So That one did not come with it.
Oh, that one was the one without it. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it does have the full self-driving computer, which is really nice.
Which is nice.
But it doesn't have like full self-driving. It just has autopilot.
Gotcha.
But basically what we did is we took the down payment, or the money we got from GM for the Bolt, put that as the down payment, and we traded in the ID.4 because it was a Volkswagen dealership, so they could easily do it.
Right.
Which was nice. And
so we paid. You go
because
okay.
you guys are going to be shocked. I mean, honestly, I can't get over how lucky we are that we got this car.
Yeah. So obviously we had our money from the Volt and stuff. We only paid $45,000 for this car.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Before taxes, obviously. So like with taxes, and we have the dock fee. What's nice is the car did come with something called permaplate, which is actually a professional ceramic coating, so we don't have to have it installed.
That's nice.
So they included that, which was actually really nice of them to do, so we don't have to worry about having it, because that was going to be something on our list. With the Teslas getting it ceramic coated, we might do a PPF just on the front to kind of protect it from like rock chips.
Yeah.
But total was $51,000. Tax, title fee, everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
51.
That's
and
awesome.
The great news is we didn't have to wait until May or June to take delivery of something.
Right. You can get it right now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're still we still are like pinching ourselves. Like, did we really buy the car yesterday?
Right. Yeah. It was, honestly, like Tyler literally stumbled upon this dealership, and like we always knew about them, but like we didn't think, that they would have these cars, and like they literally told us like they're losing money on this sale because of how much positive equity we had in the ID.4 and our down payment. So
Dang.
yeah, very happy with it.
Dang.
So we named it Tanjiro from our favorite anime Demon Slayer.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a long-term car for us, because this has been like a huge goal for us to get a Tesla. And
yeah,
we talked about it, like we were talking about it on the way home from picking it up. Like, Brandon working there and us just dreaming of owning one, and we always tried, and it never really worked out. And then this was honestly just luck.
Yeah.
To get this one.
You really can't pass it up from everything that's gone on, it sounds like. So
Yep. And so, I just want to say, this episode obviously is not sponsored or anything by Volkswagen of Streetsboro, but like if you're in the Cleveland area or Ohio area, check them out for electric vehicles, because they are so knowledgeable about EVs and they're passionate about it. They genuinely want electric vehicles to succeed. So if you're interested, go work with them, because they're fantastic people.
That's great.
So,
I know they call them the used Tesla dealership.
they call them Tesla of Streetsboro because of how many Teslas they sell.
That's funny.
They apparently
That's
sell
funny.
a
A lot.
of used Teslas all the time.
Yep.
Even new ones like the Plaid is brand new.
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome.
So we are now Tesla owners.
You are.
Yep.
Welcome to the fan club. You've already got tattoos, so I don't know if you can go much farther.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. We'll see what happens next.
Right. That's super exciting. Did you get the, because you texted me pretty soon after you guys picked it up, did you get like the ownership stuff transferred? I know you were trying to figure that out.
Yeah, we went online last night and we like submitted like my driver's license as well as like the temporary registration.
Okay.
And they said it would take about 3 to 5 business days to transfer the ownership. They said that if we knew the other owner, we could reach out to them and have it transfer. But like,
we don't know who it is.
To me personally, I feel like that's almost an invasion of privacy too. Like,
I always thought that was
Tesla
weird too. I mean, you should like. They should have transferred it to the dealership, like when they sold it to the dealership, and the dealership should be like, "Hey, give us your email, and we'll transfer the car to you." Like that's how they should do it. But I don't think a lot of people do that. They don't know how to work with the Tesla systems and stuff to make that happen. So
so it will probably happen, in the next day or two, where we'll have access to it. I hope so too, because we only have one key card, so like it's.
Order some more of those. Yeah,
they're out of stock.
Are they seriously? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We were bummed. Like, okay, they're only $35. Let's just order, 2, just so we have extra for the car.
Right.
And it's like on back order. I'm like, oh come on.
Yeah.
Well, we could get the key fob for $180.
We could. Yeah.
We could.
Yeah.
I don't want the key fob, though.
No, I know.
But this is our first car, that will actually be able to use phone as a key. Literally the entire ownership.
Seriously. The ID.4 didn't have phone as a key?
No.
It was just like app access to do stuff. It
was a
wasn't
key fob.
actually a key. Really?
Yeah, oh, you got a key with the ID.4. Yeah.
Wow.
So we're excited because it's like now we get to carry less on us. It's
Yep.
just our phone and then our wallet, obviously.
Yeah.
I am like praying for the day I can finally get down to just like having my phone and just
Yeah, I
carrying that
know.
around to be able to do everything. Because like I
Yeah.
still carry my phone, keys, and wallet everywhere because I need a key to get into my apartment. We probably will get like a smart lock or something, but yeah, that helps simplify a lot of things.
Oh yeah. Yep. One day.
One day.
Yep. So.
Well, that's super exciting.
Yeah.
The
thanks,
story
Alex.
is somewhat complete, I guess. I'm curious
Yes.
what you guys are gonna get next once you if you ever go back to 2 cars, or what's
That
even
will
gonna
be
be
a-
available.
That'll be
yeah.
a long time from now.
That's definitely going to be when we're settled in, on the West Coast.
Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, maybe another Bolt. Who knows? Piddles will make revenge.
Piddles revenge.
Yeah, Piddles revenge.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Cool. So when is that video going live of your? Did you get any video of you like picking it up, or was it so like spur of the moment you didn't even think about it?
Well, so we didn't record any videos because we had dinner scheduled with my parents yesterday.
Oh, okay.
And the dealership experience took 5+ hours because we couldn't stop talking about electric
we
cars.
were just having so much fun.
Yeah.
We didn't realize how long it took. We're like, oh man, we gotta go.
Yeah.
Right.
So we didn't record anything yet. Honestly, with me going to Las Vegas on Wednesday, I don't think we're probably going to get to it until the weekend after.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Gotcha.
But we're going to let all the shopping series play through, get the views there. They're all going to go live on Friday afternoon, this upcoming Friday.
Nice.
And then we'll make so have you seen House Hunters, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
So our big unveiling video, we plan on doing it in a cafe. You know how they're sitting in some beautiful garden, and they're like, I like option 1. I don't know about that. So we're gonna really stage it, and we're gonna let's go with option whatever, and then it's gonna pan to the Tesla, and then we're gonna do this is our Tesla.
Yep.
Yeah.
Love it.
So we're gonna work with
awesome.
local cafe for that. So
Our favorite one.
bring our ring light, everything.
There you go. That'll be perfect.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So.
Cool. So look out for that video. Thanks for sharing the car shopping story. I know it's been a long time coming, so I'm sure you're happy to be done with it and
Yes.
have a car now.
Yes. And move on with our lives.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Alrighty. So yeah, definitely tune into the Everyday EV channel and watch out for those car shopping videos and the cafe scene. And and we'll catch you all in the next episode.